Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold, we read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop, the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and this is Psychic Insights. Okay, I've been thinking a lot, so maybe that's a problem. Since, 2026, a lot of people have resolutions, and I am just all about patterns, and I was looking at my own patterns, and I thought to myself, I'm very curious about the bankruptcies of Ron and Jan Owens and Laura and her bankruptcy. And I really was curious from the perspective of what do their charts say about their money patterns. So, just a reminder, this isn't a legal claim, it's not an accusation, it's not a statement of guilt or any innocence or any of that. This is psychic insight informed by astrology, human design, and energetic pattern recognition. And I've been doing this work for a long time, and the one thing I've learned is that when people share a household, they share a financial and emotional ecosystem. So think of that as sort of an energetic container, right? And when the system breaks down, it's just never just about money. It's about roles and fear and loyalty and survival. And that's what we're going to look at today. And I hope you like this content. And don't forget to press the like button. Got to do that, right? All right, so the Owens family has a shared system. 3 adults inside one container, a mom, a dad, and an adult daughter. All right. Laura Owens lives in the casita that, on her family's property, her parents' property. And that energetically and financially means this is one household, not 3 independent lives. And systems don't collapse overnight. They collapse through patterns. And so let's talk about Ron first. He's the one who carries. Ron's astrology and human design show that someone is here to carry responsibility, and he has strong Libra energy. In plain English, this means he wants harmony, he avoids conflict, he believes problems will smooth out if he keeps things balanced. In human design terms, he's a generator style energy, and that's I'll keep going energy. And with money, this shows up as if I keep working, keep paying, keep managing, this will resolve. And generators can carry the weight far longer than is healthy, especially when stopping feels like failure. And psychically, Ron feels like the signer. He signs, the checks, and he's the manager, the one who says yes to extensions, and he's the one who keeps the lights on. And this doesn't feel like reckless energy, but it does feel over-responsible. Now, Jan, this is pressure builds behind the scenes, and her role is very, very different. She's a projector in human design, and which means she's not here to do the work. She's here to direct energy and influence decisions. She also has a Saturn in Scorpio, which is one of the most intense money placements in astrology. And in simple terms, money equals survival. Loss feels like annihilation. Secrecy feels like safety, and letting go feels dangerous. And her strong Leo energy and money also becomes about identity, image, pride. We can't let this fail. We can't let this fall. So psychically, Jan does not feel like the bookkeeper. She feels like the pressure system. And this is maybe not necessarily a consciously manipulative thing, but it's very emotionally powerful. And her energy says we have to hold this together. That pressure shapes decisions. So now we have Laura. and she's the destabilizing variable. She obviously has strong Taurus energy, and Taurus craves security, stability, and comfort. But craving security and knowing how to manage it are two very different things. Her chart shows weak financial boundaries. No surprise there. Strong attachment to narrative. Avoidance when reality gets uncomfortable, and a tendency to live inside a story rather than a system. Whether you believe in astrology or not, like seriously, sometimes these things just really land correctly. Psychically, Laura does not show up as a planner, a financial manager, or a protector of resources. You think? She shows up as someone who needs containment, needs support, needs accommodation. And that doesn't make her evil. It just makes her dependent. All right. So Laura in the past, and I didn't find the paper or the email or whatever it was that she said, but she said something, and I'm paraphrasing, about keeping her parents out of debt or financially supporting them or something in that realm. And if you have been following this case, you probably remember. And this is where we slow down. Astrologically and energetically, Laura's chart does not support the role of someone who protects others financially. What does come through, though, is a belief in her own narrative, redefining reality to preserve safety, and confusing emotional presence with material contribution. It's possible she believes this story, and belief and reality are not the same thing, especially with Laura. All right, so how does the debt actually grow? Because this debt was not sudden. And it obviously, and you all will probably be like, well, like, duh, feels like years of accumulation. And here's the energetic loop we need to look at. Ron carries the structure, Jan applies the survival pressure, and Laura adds to the instability and need. And no one stops that train because Ron believes carrying is his role, and Jan believes stopping equals collapse. And Laura doesn't have the capacity to intervene. So this is how debt will grow. Quietly, not through greed, but through loyalty without limits. Now, there's another layer here, and this matters energetically. Jan has spoken, there's been documents that Jan has borrowed money from her brothers, and now there's a legal conflict around that. And I want to be very clear, I'm not commenting on paperwork, legality, or who is right or wrong. I'm talking about energetic patterning. This is fascinating. Jan has a Saturn in Scorpio, and that placement governs shared money, loans, family resources, power dynamics, survival-based entanglements. This is not a placement of clean, detached borrowing. This is the placement of we are now bound. And when someone with Saturn in Scorpio who borrows from siblings, it's rarely just financial. It's emotional, psychological, and it is about survival. When that system collapses, Saturn in Scorpio seeks authority. So authority can look like moral positioning, legal systems, reframing the story, or reclaiming power through institutions. Energetically, borrowing money from siblings ends up being in a legal conflict is not random in this chart. It's a classic expression of fear under pressure, control when cornered, and power struggles inside family systems. Saturn in Scorpio does not want to lose, even if the cost is connection. Let's just think about that for a second. All right, and let's talk about the Chinese zodiac overlay, because I've lately become super fascinated with the Chinese zodiac and how that plays into our patterns, our energetic patterns. And this part is pretty cool. Ron carries duty and endurance energy. Jan carries clever, strategic survival energy. And Laura carries restless, impulsive, freedom-seeking energy. And put that together, we've got one person that carries, we got one person that strategizes, and one person destabilized. And that is not a money-safe system. All right, so what does 2026 bring? In 2026, that's the year of the fire horse. And fire horse energy is fast, exposing, and unforgiving. So for this household, 2026 looks like illusions burning away, pressure accelerating, systems collapsing if not restructured. And this is not a manage and delay year. And psychically, 2026 says you can't keep doing this, and something has to give. So I also asked, can this be repaired? What would their lives look like if they could repair it? What would that be? And the only way this can happen is through role collapse. And here's what would have to change. Ron would have to stop carrying everything and accept the limits and release provider guilt. And Jan would have to drop the narrative control and allow visibility of loss and separate identity from money. And Laura she'd have to become fully financially independent and leave that containment system and face consequences directly. Do we think that's going to happen? I don't think so. This family doesn't seem to want to evolve or grow because it's very hard to face your stuff, right? So without these shifts, the pattern will repeat. And with them, rebuilding is totally possible, even in their late stage, but it would be smaller, simpler, and cleaner. And we've talked about, the people who've been commenting on the financial aspects have been, commenting on that. They'd have to, really take a look and face their stuff and live a little lighter, simpler. All right, so here's my closing thoughts. This story isn't about villains. It's really just about enmeshment, fear-based loyalty, identity tied to survival, and what happens when no one steps out of their role. Because money does not collapse families. Patterns do. And 2026 doesn't ask politely. It's asking for truth. And if this episode helped you see money, family dynamics, or energetic patterns more clearly, please like this video. It really supports my channel. And if you're new here, subscribe for more psychic insights and deep dives into the Laura Owens Saga and the energetic patterns behind public cases. And if you want help understanding your own money patterns, I'm learning mine, family dynamics, or survival roles, you can book a reading with me. Or you can order a 2026 forecast, and you can shoot me an email and say I'd like it be focused on money patterns. I can do that for you. All right, so drop a comment and tell me what stood out for you most, because I read them, and I will see you in the next one.